John, you've managed increasing sizes of teams for the bulk of your career. I'm quite curious about your thoughts in three core areas of people management in particular. Number one is managing difficult conversations with your Malaysian employees, building effective teams in Asia, and your view on foreigners that come into the country and operate in the country, collaborate with you, and how they can operate more effectively. So maybe let's take the first one, managing difficult conversations with your employees.
Well, I would say that I've managed a decent size of team throughout my career. It's interesting that you brought up this question. So when it comes to managing difficult conversation with employees, I think this definitely requires a certain level of attention, especially empathy, clear communication, as well as at least focus on solution. So when it comes to how I approach it, I think it's pretty simple. You got to be very prepared and calm. I think it's also important to understand that sometimes the situation is a little bit different. You got to have a thorough understanding before you address the issue. It's very important as a leader that you actively listen and allow the employee to kind of express their perspective fully. This helps to actually diffuse any emotional tension that may arise in a conversation. There are times that we have to be quite transparent and respectful. And most importantly, we have to focus on the facts, avoiding personal attacks, remain on a solution oriented mindset. It's also crucial to maintain a respectful tone and ensure that employee understands that the goal of that conversation is to help them to improve or resolve an issue, but not to criticize them personally. In anything that we do, follow up is definitely very important because after the conversation, there's definitely need to ensure there's a plan in place for improvement or resolution to provide a continuous feedback. I think regular check-ins is also quite important.
I have a quick follow-up here on the concept of saving face. Do you have that in Malaysia as well? Do you experience that in the Malaysian culture, or is that something that maybe is not that visible?
There is perhaps some level of saving face culture here, but I guess that we can't run away from having to tell the truth. We try to address it with the concept of saving face rather than being too direct that might be perceived differently. We don't know how they think. We just have to assume a very neutral position and try not to be emotionally attached when we make any comments.
And what you mentioned earlier is quite relevant about sticking to the facts. It's just maybe important, how do we present these facts in certain situations? Western cultures tend to be very direct, to the point, and sometimes in Asia, this can be lengthened out a little bit or smoothened and presented in a different way. Let's go to the next part of this question, which is building effective teams in Asia. What are your views on that?
Well, building teams in Asia or maybe Malaysia specifically, we require a certain understanding of the cultural diversity. As a Malaysian, we are quite fortunate because we are immersed in different layers of culture. That helps us to understand the communication styles that we need to deploy and understanding the work ethics across the region, and that helped us to understand a few other things. So when it comes to cultural sensitivity in Asia, I've seen it in different places where it kind of varies in terms of hierarchy as well as respect that each of this person would need. One general example, in most Asian cultures, differences to seniority is definitely important, and teamwork often needs to account for this. Anyone who kind of works here would have to ensure that they adapt the style to be more respectful to these cultural, I would say, nuances in Asia, or maybe perhaps I think same to the other region. We have to ensure that we foster collaboration. I think this is very important that we create an open environment where ideas are freely shared. Collaboration is also encouraged to ensure there's a key performance in a high-performing team. So this is important as we create a safe space for everyone to contribute and to ensure that every team member's voice are heard. Of course, this is something which is very relevant. Everyone comes with a different skill sets, and everyone comes with the diverse background, especially when you put in the cultures in place. So I think it's very important that we have to recognize each individual's strengths and bring those skills together for a common goal. It's also good to encourage mutual respect and appreciation of differences that create more cohesive team.
You mentioned common goal. I think that's worthy of a follow-up here. How do you communicate in your team's common goals?
Well, I would say we communicate it very openly. I would also take the opportunity to hear their feedback after delivering this message on our common goals. Allow them to understand that we are in a journey together. We are in the same boat together. We have to strive and work hard together to reach the goal that we need, especially I think when it comes to delivering the expectations of our stakeholders as well as a company.